1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to Seeing This. We have a very special, brand new bonus episode for you. We want to mix things up for you, do what it is you guys like to see, like to hear. And we're going international today with a Foreign Film Friday. Brand new format. I'm the movie mamba, Michael Ornelas. We have the Feisty Pisces, Erica McMullen, here on the call. We have the Gerber, baby-faced assassin, Adrian Cedeno.
Hey, guys.
I gotta
Glad to be
apologize.
here.
The past couple intros I fucked up. I either didn't say my first name or I didn't say your name. But, you know, we're just here for vibes. We're just here.
Guess whose name you always say?
Oh, wow. Oh. Well, listen, yours, it's an easy segue. It's like the Feisty Pisces.
Conveniently enough, she always gets to pick first, too, when we draft.
She's going to hit a slump here
I'm
with
just
our...
putting out so many good vibes.
Yeah. It's karma, right? It's
Universe
karma.
wants to reward
Yeah.
me.
No one's interested in your karma, Erica. What they're interested in is this new episode we're doing where today we are talking about a foreign film, Fantastic Planet, or Le Planète Suivante, which is a French animated film, French Czechoslovakia film that we want to talk about to kind of expand our horizons. You know, this is a film that probably you guys have never heard of before I mentioned it. Me and Erica were going to do a movie swap where I watched Wall-E because I hadn't seen it. I gave some of my opinion on that. It's a bit boring.
He was unimpressed with Wall-E.
Wall-E. What's the other one's name, Adrian? Remind me. Ava or some shit?
Eva.
Yeah, no, I'm out. But Fantastic Planet, you know, caught some momentum because you've been wanting to talk about it, Erica. So here we are.
I just hope I get to pick a movie, too, guys.
You're up next,
you guys all
brother.
get to watch.
Listen,
right,
you're up next. For the fans,
get you guys.
You want some behind the scenes. Adrian has been wanting the Ninja Turtles anniversary.
Ninja Turtles so bad.
The Ninja Turtles anniversary. What is it? I want to say Shogun. What is it?
The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon. You know. But your time is
Surf
coming.
Ninjas.
Adrian. Okay, take it easy. That's where I draw the line. Like, it's fine, but we can't do a whole goddamn podcast on Surf Ninjas, bro.
I think that's your guys' blind spot. What do you mean?
I've seen it, but
Erica, have you seen?
Nonetheless.
All right. Fantastic Planet. Let's go.
Nonetheless, we're doing a movie Adrian did not like, I'm sure. Fantastic Planet. So just to give you a little context, this came out in 1973. It is available both on Criterion and HBO Max. We're back to HBO Max. They've gone back to their old branding. Congratulations to HBO.
I just want to put it out there. I Googled it, and like there was like 3 apps that you can either download, but they had live streaming where I was able to watch this whole movie.
It's available.
Yeah, it's available. It's readily available.
All that to bring us to what we're doing today, which is Foreign Film Friday. And what we're doing is we have 8 categories where we're trying to stamp the passport for each of these categories. And hopefully it guides us in some conversation in this movie. If this movie does get all 8 categories, it then gets a 9th stamp, which makes it part of our Seeing This Foreign Film Hall of Fame. But it has to get every stamp. Okay. It'll make a little bit more sense as we go through it. Maybe it'll evolve as we go through. This was our first time trying this new format. But opening up, we go to...
I think you should open up with the Letterboxd summary.
We always go Letterboxd summary, so then we get some context to the movie, right? Otherwise, you're like, what the hell is this movie you're talking about? Again, Fantastic Planet, or Le Planète Suivante, just to give you the tagline, a sublime trip to a fine new world. I kind of like that. The description: on the planet Yugam, which I didn't even know, the Drags, extremely technologically and spiritually advanced blue humanoids, consider the tiny Ohms, human beings, descendants of Terra's inhabitants, as ignorant animals. Those who live in slavery are treated as simple pets and used to entertain Drag children. Those who live hidden in the hostile wilderness of planet are periodically hunted and ruthlessly slaughtered as if they were vermin. I've been talking a lot. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get you guys in here for our first stamp that we need, which is the border control stamp. First impressions and cultural check-in. In order to get this stamp, this film has to be predominantly filmed in a foreign country to the US. So France, Czechoslovakia, like I said, but just your opening thoughts here, we can kind of talk. What did you think of this movie? Adrian, let's start with you because I'm curious where your mind went just with this movie.
I enjoyed the concept. I enjoyed the idea. I had a hard time getting past the animation. Um, Again, I'm a '90s kid. Uh, Even in the '90s, like the cartoons and animation was completely further along than where it was apparently in the '70s. Um, I don't know. I didn't grow up in the '70s, so I had a hard time getting past the animation. Um, it was like a cross between like realistic and not, and weird and goofy. Like it was just I couldn't get through it. Like it almost looked like still pictures at some points. So it wasn't for me. And I'm a Simpsons fan, so I get all I get the animation like evolves and changes. Um, Aside of that, the whole French um concept of humans and life and these humanoids, aliens that are just essentially these giant beings that control us and run everything. It almost gave me a vibe of like um Planet of the Apes, kind of thing, where it's on a different planet where, we're slaves. We're not the ultimate species, but the beauty of humanity still is like our ingenuity, and as messed up as it is, like we are a plague anywhere we go, and we can overcome and conquer whatever it is. Um, so it was a unique and beautiful notion. But again, I had a hard time getting past the animation, and the dialogue just seemed kind of weak.
Hmm.
I
Just
chalked it up to the dubbing, to the English dubbing,
so
that
you
maybe
did
it
the
really
English
wasn't that
dub.
right. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. You did that. So when you watch it, you could watch it in English with the English dub, or in French with English subtitles, even English dub. Erica, what was your journey like with what to the Fantastic Planet?
Yeah, so I actually did the French with English subtitles
Oh,
first, and then I did the English dub. I kind of like to do both in that sense, just to kind of like help with like the context of
did
things.
you watch twice or like you switched?
Twice. I
Oh,
watched
cool,
twice.
cool.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you watched this before? Because you were the one who recommended it, and I feel like when we did the animation like draft, I feel like you had mentioned this movie in it.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if I had watched it by then. When Michael and I had first watched it, and then I had watched it this past week,
It's
knowing we
probably
were gonna.
like last month. Let's say a month ago.
Yeah,
You
probably like a
probably
month
watched it
ago. So I
in
watched it last month, and then I watched it this week.
So
for this.
okay, I was under the assumption that you had already seen this movie like a long time ago, like
No, no, no.
Wally kind of thing.
Oh, no, no, no.
So where did you hear about
So
this
how did we
movie?
get about? How did this
Yeah.
movie come about? So
Michael, you were the one who recommended it to us.
so our
I
buddy
think I
Manny,
think you were just I mean, you pride yourself on watching a lot of foreign films, and I think you were just like, "Hey, I really think you should check this one out. You would like it." And you were right. Like I did genuinely enjoy this film. Now, the
yeah,
first time I was watching it, I was maybe a little bit out of this world to be watching it. So it was like
sure,
very I wouldn't say triggering, but very just like, oh my God, I didn't think we were gonna delve into how
like it's deeper than you thought. Like
cruel
for a
humanity is. Like I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
think
yeah,
we
yeah,
were
yeah.
like really gonna get into that. But definitely I have actually recommended it to a friend who I thought would kind of get a lot out of it. And he's about halfway through and is like, oh my God, I didn't think this was gonna slap me in the face like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, our so me and Adrian have a buddy that we grew up with named Manny. Shout out Manny. He's busy touring. He's in a cumbia, psychedelic cumbia band. Got the
That's like the
Galactica. Shout
coolest
out to
thing
you
of my life.
guys. Check him
Yes,
out.
sir. I rep their shirts. I got their gear.
Yeah, it's a good time. You check him out. If you like
Yeah,
Fantastic
they put on
Planet,
a good
check
show.
out this.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely
for
put on a
sure.
good show. They got some good music.
Got the Galactica. Check him out. But he first introduced me to this movie because I think he appreciates one, the animation, how out there it is. A lot of weird creatures are in this animated film. A lot of philosophical ideas, specifically around like the power of meditation, right? So I
Yeah.
think these different themes, he's about that, and as am I to an extent. So he recommended it years ago. This is like college years. Like this is a great movie to watch when you're like learning, like early 20s. Your
Yeah.
mind
By
is still
learning, I think
open.
he means experimenting.
Well, whatever, we do different things in life. But yeah, that's how it came about. And I think, for this movie, like I said, it's French creators. They went to Czechoslovakia for production as far as like investment into the movie. Interesting. Like if you have a chance, honestly, check out Criterion. There's a lot of interesting interviews with the director where they give the making of the film. And this film was delayed for a long time because Russia invaded Czechoslovakia and they had to stop production for like 4 years. Like they had this movie
Wow.
ready to go for a while. But then they ended up having to go to like different kind of animation studios to finish the animation because Roland, what was his name? Sorry. Roland,
True to
Topel.
Taupe.
Apologies on the accent, Topel. He decided he just didn't want to do it anymore. So
I
he
think that
had a
sounded
lot
pretty
of
good. Say that again.
Topel. Topel.
Nah, Topea?
I lost it. Topel.
Yeah.
But he decided he wanted to quit and ended up they like had a lot of pre-production stuff that he already drew and went to outside places, countries, to get it finished. Anyways, all that to say, I think it gets our first stamp here to get through this first stamp, which is our border control stamp, which is the movie is predominantly produced or filmed outside of the United States. So, boom. More often than not, if we continue to do this type of episode, you'll get the first stamp because it needs to be foreign. Our second stamp to move forward, stamp of style, visual language, and aesthetic identity. So this stamp is achieved by having an aesthetically pleasing appeal in a variety of areas. So costumes, scenery, cinematography, just the look of the movie. If the majority of us agree that it was above par and stellar, it gets
Yeah.
that
I
stamp. So
mean,
tell me about the aesthetic, Erica.
yeah, I think it was like really important the way that they did animate this film, right? So the idea of it was to make it seem like it was these foreign beings that were the ones who were capable of doing these things in comparison to how humans act towards each other and towards animals, towards certain ecosystems, all this kind of stuff. So I think it was important that they made them look the way they did. So like the characters, the ums, where they weren't quite sophisticated right away, but then stole the knowledge from the other
The
beings. And
trucks.
I don't know. I know Adrian's a little bit different in this respect, but I actually really enjoyed the animation and the way that
The
they
style.
designed the creatures to look like and what they were wearing and what they were doing while they were meditating. Like I think all of that was really important and really specifically done.
Yeah. To compare something like to the masses that might understand further, it's almost like this movie is inside of a Salvador Dali painting. You know what I mean? But instead of Salvador
Yeah.
Dali,
Yeah,
it's
definitely thinking of this film as a painting in
yeah.
that sense, I think is really a really smart way to go to actually like absorb the
I'm
art.
definitely not cultured enough for that.
So you said off the bat you didn't like the animation. Is it because it's 2D, or are you talking about like the creatures and concepts were too out there, or like
No,
what?
no, no. So I could appreciate the creatures and concepts. Like I appreciate the depth of like what they look like and stuff like that. I just didn't like how it was. I guess I didn't like the humanoids, or I mean,
The
not the
ohms,
humanoids,
people.
yeah, the ohms, the actual humans.
Yeah.
I didn't like saggy boobs, and like it was just weird.
Okay.
Like it was just, I didn't like it. It was just awkward. It was just weird for me. Like I did kind of like. I didn't like how it was kind of put together. Like a cartoon kind of flows now, like it felt like it was stopping. It was just like a picture or a painting or whatever, and then boom, another one, and then boom. Like it almost felt like somebody drew it a bunch and then flipped it on the page. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so in that sense, like that's what I didn't like. I don't know if you would call that cinematography, maybe not the animation, because it's not so much what they look like or what they were doing in the scenes. Like, no, that provided depth, and that's what I actually did appreciate, was like,
Just visually, you weren't into
yeah,
like it. So the closest comparison I could say is maybe like a degraded South Park, because South Park also started with like paper kind of cutouts and movement of that,
I
and this
would
is
maybe kind of compare it. Have you seen the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox?
sure, yeah,
yes, exactly.
I
That animation
probably
drove me
compared,
insane.
yeah, see, and I think it's more of like that.
It almost looks like a
Stop,
puppet,
it's
but it's
almost like
not.
that stop motion that I
Yeah,
think you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
a fan of,
for
which
sure,
is fair
for sure.
because like that's not everyone's jam. Like
Right.
I have a hard time watching certain films that are like fluid in that sense. So like yeah, I can kind of see how that would bother
yeah,
you.
I like how you say that. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
It wasn't fluid for me. You know what I mean? I'm watching it, and it's
Like
not
you could
fluid.
probably watch like A Nightmare Before Christmas because that maybe is a
it's
little bit
cleaner.
more fluid with the songs and how everything
Even
runs.
then, that's like the
And I was
borderline.
gonna say, even then, like there are
Yeah.
some movements where they
James
maybe
and the Giant Peach, I think, is a good example. Like it just kind of not really my style.
Okay, well that's
and
fair.
all of the films that we've just mentioned are weird little
Right.
films too.
Okay,
Correct.
listen,
So it's
we're
like, yeah.
we're about 25 minutes in, and we're on the fucking second stamp here.
But some of
So
them are gonna flow. Some of them
yeah.
are gonna
Michael,
flow.
that
Like,
first
yeah.
stamp was all your fault.
Well,
So
that's easy.
Right.
We had to set the
Right.
listen.
All
We're
right.
going to evolve this type of episode, but we want to explore foreign
Okay.
cinema.
Next
So
stamp.
for here, well, do we give it the stamp of style? We need at least two of three of us to say yes.
I'm gonna
Stylistically,
say yes.
okay. And again, I'm talking aesthetically, costumes, the way it was shot. Adrian, I think
I'm the no, so
you're the no.
it would
So
be two yeses and a no.
I mean, yeah, I gotta go.
It gets
Yes,
a stamp. Yeah,
it gets a stamp.
we all
Okay.
know, Mikey. Come on, quit
Well,
delaying. Let's
listen.
go.
I mean, all right. So next, stamp of emotion. So this is performance, emotion, and human connection. This stamp is achieved by having compelling emotional moments. This can be dramatic, sad, funny, any emotion that is convincing in the way it's delivered. So, what do we think? Was this movie emotional?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Expand.
Kind of.
Kind of. A yeah and a kind
Um,
of. Okay.
I think it really depends on where you are at in life and how you feel about society, right? So
Okay.
like, cause like
But
in
that
all
brings out emotion, regardless of where you're at. In that, you have an emotion on based off of that.
kind of. So like it's not really strong, you know what I mean? Cause like I was watching this film and I was just kind of like it was more of just like fuck, like yeah, that's pretty spot on.
So
Like, you know,
so just to give a little more bit more specificity, help me out.
Specification.
Uh,
you could say
what is it?
specificity.
Symbology, symbolism. Yeah.
Nope,
The word
that's
you're
not
looking
a
for is
word.
symbolism.
What's the symbology there?
Symbology? Now that Duffy has relinquished his King Bonehead crown, I see we have an heir to the throne. I'm sure the word you were looking for was symbolism. What is the symbolism there?
No. So I think I think with this, it has that level of like the emotional part to me is more of how these ohms or humans are treated as like animals. Let's say, like, let's give a little bit more context. They're treated as animals. They wear collars that their alien owners put on them so that they can magnetize them back to them with a bracelet
And
they
they
wear,
can't
right?
leave.
So they can't leave, right? So we are now having to look at a human the way we treat animals, more or less, pets. And then the distinction between pets and wild animals is
Well,
also
and
covered
how we have treated other humans in our
as well.
history as
As
well.
well,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's Adrian, to when you talk about brain off movies, what
This is
turns
not that.
this is not that, and what turns me on are allegorical films that tell a story that are an allegory to like things happening in society or amongst you. Like that's my shit. So that's why I really enjoy this film. So when we talk about emotions, I think it is in fact impactful because, we find empathy for these humans, which represents us, but really in conversion is an empathy for just living beings that we deal
Yeah.
with on Earth, right?
With life. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we go through this, does that mean we're all yes on a stamp of emotion? Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
We're all there. So boom, stamp of emotion.
I felt like Erica was on the verge, like she almost wanted to go no on that. But yeah.
I was on the verge just because it's not like I said, it really depends on just kind of like how you view your place in society and kind of like how your views are now. And it's like with things that are going on in this world, seeing a film like this, you're just kind of like not surprised that those things are happening because you're seeing it in real time.
That brings us to a great segue for our next stamp,
You're
Erica,
welcome.
where we can get real heavy and deep on stamp of depth. So themes, allegory, and thought-provoking themes. This stamp is achieved by exploring deep themes and psychological, philosophical analysis. I think this is
Definitely on that.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is a full-fledged stamp. Just to expand on what you were just saying, Erico, I couldn't help but think of Israel Palestine as I was watching this. Granted, in the movie, it's to us an alien versus a human or a ohm. But I saw that as just a full genocide removal of a species or of a people, which is what these aliens try to do to the ohms, right? They got these like hockey pucks from hell that
Pesticides.
just pesticide hockey
Yeah.
puck.
You
That's
know what it reminded me of? Like a tennis machine. Like if you go and practice and the tennis balls are just getting flung at you across the
oh
net.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. They're just tossing them
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
Yeah.
tossing
You just,
hockey pucks of poison everywhere. Yeah.
yeah. Like you have that, for me, really touched on a lot of like slavery topics and
Sure. Yeah.
because you do at one point see them like working in like fields and working like, doing things for
Like, oh,
their
you're domesticated. You ain't like us.
and then you see
Sure.
them
As
with like
Yeah.
well.
the fighting rink for the elms where they're like putting them in a place to fight
Oh,
and
yeah, what's that, Mandingos? Yeah.
calling
I
them
mean, I mean,
savage
realistically, if
and
you want to compare it to the time, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. And and it's crazy to think like you said, Adrian, you have your own that is domesticated as a pet, who's like our main character, and then he finds these like quote unquote savage ohms that are wild,
Yeah.
and he's got like this weird, almost like bunny fucking costume on.
Yeah.
And they make it a point to say like he was mocked because these natives are like, what a fucking I think we can relate to that. Like
Yeah.
human
They always said,
natives.
like, I mean, house slaves. You're not you're a house slave. You're not a field slave. Like,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like, it touched on a lot of different topics. It was definitely a deep movie for sure.
So we give it the stamp. We'll go to the fifth stamp, the stamp of sound. So this is going to be the sound score, sound design. This stamp is achieved by excellent sound
This might
throughout
be
the
where
movie.
we lose it.
Really? Tell me. Expand.
I
You didn't like it.
I don't
yeah,
like the
I
sound
mean,
either.
I understood like the reasoning behind like mixing some of like those upbeat tunes in with like the dramatic things that were happening, but I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like it at all.
I second that. I could appreciate what they were trying to do. It just didn't do it for me. Like I didn't
I think maybe
appreciate
if
the
that
dubbing. Maybe I
maybe
don't
if
like
it
the
was a
tone of
little
their
bit
voices.
maybe if it was like a little bit more chaotic music, like I
Well,
thought it was maybe just
there's some like stress inducing music on certain scenes, but actually I'm curious, Erica, since you watch both the English and the French dub, is there a distinct difference in like the emotional reaction you got from it or the
Or
translation?
liked it better French with just the English subtitles.
Okay.
so
Okay.
so is it like you watch a soccer game and English versus Spanish? Like, man, the Spanish one really brings out an
Because
emotion and an
like
intensity.
it's
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like it's an intense. It's like a playoff game as opposed to
I mean, it depends.
a regular season.
If I hear Alexi Lalas, I just mute it at
turn
that
it off. Yeah.
point.
Sorry,
I
Alexa.
Okay,
just
maybe
mute it
maybe
and I
soccer.
don't listen to no commentator. Or I'll go to the on Peacock, I'll go to the football and then I'll put it on there.
Sure,
Have some
sure.
Spanish commentators.
So,
So
but
is it
No,
like that? Like the French dub was a little different tones of characters. Like that's kind of what upset me too. Like their voices sometimes was like,
a little stagnant.
yeah,
I think with hearing it in French, I think it would maybe solve a little bit of your like fluidity issues. Just because, like you said, there's not as much pause for the English dub to happen. Um, it was different. I did appreciate it more in French. I don't know, maybe it's because I watched the dub one most recently that I just didn't like the music that was chosen for it or
Well, the
something.
music's gonna be the same.
Yeah, I
it's
think,
just
yeah, it
yeah.
just, I don't know, wasn't a fan.
the tones of the voices is what bothered me like more than the music. Like I did notice the music and it did kind of like that sucks. But the tones of voices and stuff like really drove me
So
bonkers.
maybe I mean, listen, if you're listening to this podcast and you didn't watch the movie, maybe this is a good sign to listen to the French dubbed version
Yeah, do the
versus
French.
English. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's the French movie with English subtitles.
And it's made, and it's the way it was meant. I mean, it's the way it was meant to be made. Like, yeah, fair enough. Okay, well,
I mean, the hardest thing for me is like making sure that the subtitles are like quick enough.
sure,
So like
that's fair.
you're reading and hearing exactly the same thing at the same time.
Well, no stamp of sound there for Fantastic Planet, which means
Wah, wah.
it doesn't get the perfect 8 stamps, which gets us to the Hall of Fame. So it won't qualify, but nonetheless, we'll continue. The script stamp, dialogue, story, and memorable lines. So this stamp is achieved by creative, effective script writing that includes clever, strong dialogue and a strong story. What do we think?
In reality, it's all the dad's fault.
The Prime Minister of the
Entire
drugs.
the entire overhaul, the fact that everything is the dad's fault.
I mean, he feels that they're a threat once they start being educated. So, just to give a little context, a little further context, again, if you're listening, hopefully you've watched this movie, but ultimately, the Ohm that is separated from its mother because alien, we're going to call them drugs, or aliens, dropped the mother and it died. So, there's a baby infant that is now on its own, and the prime minister's kid finds it and says, "Can we keep it?" Yes, becomes a pet, right? We move forward and we find out that one, these drugs use meditation as their primary priority of life to travel to a different place
Planet and
and
make
dance and
Women,
love.
yeah.
make love. Yeah, right. So that's what they got going on. And on top of that, they also get educated by like
bracelets or necklaces,
they're
right?
no, they're like for your ears.
Headbands.
It's almost like a headband that has an audio Wikipedia just feeding you, and your retention just holds on to it, right? So they're educated.
Oh, so you thought
I
it
think they
was
call it
audio.
conduction.
Oh, you didn't think it was what did you think?
It's conduction,
No. Yeah, I thought it was just like
It just feeds it.
like
yeah,
vibrations,
where
like
it's like
yeah, like
showing you everything, like
I could allow that.
everything is being seen and
So
heard,
so.
because we see kind of like their thoughts visualized of what's being
what they're
fed to
being
them,
taught. Yeah.
right? Yeah. You're gonna say something,
I,
Adrian, or
I was gonna say, yeah, like don't we have earphones and stuff that work with conduction? It's not actually in your ears, just touching your skull and the vibrations of what you hear
oh,
and all that stuff. Like, yeah,
you
I
got
think it's called something. Erica, I'm asking you mainly because I know
I think
Mikey's not the science guy.
it's something along those lines, yeah, where I mean,
okay.
there's a bunch of stuff where you can trigger
Really?
everything in you can
And then
trigger.
just for the sake of the story, the Ohm or human who is the size of like I don't know what, like a fucking mouse, pretty much, if we equate it.
Tear?
Terror, which is a great name to bring it back to Earth. But he essentially steals one of these devices and takes it back to these savage,
It
quote
goes to the
unquote,
wild,
savage.
pretty much. He just like
Goes into the
escapes
wild.
with
He
it
gets out.
and
And he
Yeah.
meets
finds
up
a
with.
and one of the native, again, we're using these terms native, savage loosely to the context of the film, but finds someone that takes the collar off so that magnetized collar doesn't drag him back to the drug. And in
And she's
turn,
like, "How dumb are you? Why didn't you just take it off?" She just
it's
pulls it off.
and they wear fake ones, so then like it looks like they're
Yeah.
already controlled by a drug. And that's how they get educated, because now they have this band that, to your point, I think does transcend language and kind of just
Yeah.
embeds into their
Well,
brain this
because they end
knowledge,
up
right?
becoming this extremely advanced race.
Right.
Just because they could read.
And because they're given the same knowledge that the drugs are.
That the
So
drugs have.
yeah.
So they have like supplies, and they know what the supplies are, and some of these supplies are
Yeah.
like traps that just fucking suck you
They
into
know
the
how to
ground.
use them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a little, sorry, that was a little divergent from our script stamp. So the writing of the movie, does it deserve a stamp that the writing, story, dialogue is above par?
That's a tough
I'm
one.
gonna say yes.
Okay.
Um,
Adrian, or go
and
ahead.
I think I'm gonna say yes just because of we also have to remember about like the time that it was made and then seeing it now and
Sure.
having it hold its place and how we're evaluating it. I'm gonna say yes, it does.
Adrian?
That's a tough one for me because the dialogue, like I kind of want more. Like I get, yeah, it's 1973, but even then, like the movies from the 70s and 60s were still depth and it still had
Yeah.
dialogue. Why didn't this cartoon have dialogue? You know what I mean? Like it could have had better dialogue for sure, but it definitely had a depth of writing in the whole notion and concept of what it was talking about, and what it was
Yeah.
invoking from people. How could it not be getting the stamp?
I
You know
think
what I mean?
I think we need to give it the stamp, and I think also like, because so I've seen the French version and I've seen the English, but this time I watched the English, and I think to Erica's point, like the English version it's not as smooth, like it's a bit more basic, and I think we need to give benefit of the doubt to the language it was meant to be in. You know what I mean? In French, specifically because of the themes that it's exploring, that we give it the script, the stamp. What are they?
I can respect that
The
for sure.
script stamp. Yeah. Okay. So we'll give it there. So far, the
I
only
play FIFA. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you got to put it on Spanish.
yeah,
Yeah.
Never leave it on English. You'll fall asleep playing the game.
yeah. That's. I mean, listen, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think to this day, my default is Spanish for FIFA.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to the next category, or the next stamp, I should say, the stamp of Transcendence. So this is a stamp that is achieved by the film holding up against a test of time and translates well across cultures. So this is a movie that you can watch at any time, and its messaging, themes, whatever, are still relevant. Erica, what do you think? Does this
Yeah,
deserve the
definitely.
transcendence? Yes.
Definitely.
What do you think is the main theme here?
I mean, it's interesting because there's a lot of different things going on, right? So there's a lot
Cruelty
of
to
different
animals,
ways.
let's say.
Well, there's a lot of different ways you can interpret this, like however you want to receive it. For me, like the ultimate message, and I think the ultimate message, like always, um, is like how important community is and accepting what everybody can offer to the community and not demonizing people, not enslaving people. Like, everybody has their place kind of in the universe. Um, so yeah, I would say maybe community for me was the biggest.
Adrian, what are your thoughts when it comes to
Mm,
transcendence? Does this transcend? Like, I think part of it too, if we're being honest, is like, could your kids watch this? Like transcend generations. I mean, it's before our time, 1973, right? But do you think this
Yeah.
generation could watch
Like
it
if
and
your
still
kids were to watch this, Adrian, do you think that they'd kind of understand how it fits in this
like what it's
world? Like
doing?
how,
Yeah.
how,
maybe one of them.
yeah.
Maybe.
Is it my godson? Tell me it's my godson. He would
Yeah,
get it.
he would be the one, like, maybe he understand, like,
Yeah.
some of the allegory that goes along with it. But Adrian, not so much. He'd probably think of it like I did
Oh,
and
what
was
the
just like,
fuck is
what the
this?
hell is this, Dad? Like, why are you making me watch this?
Yeah. Okay, so
Aliha and my daughter,
I mean, but that's
no.
not for. This isn't for like
Ro-
under.
Rosalind would watch this
Under
and be like, no, my
16.
kids aren't watching this.
Sure.
Under 16.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna
cause
say
I feel like
16.
cause like there was definitely kids at my high school who just kind of like already kind of knew about how life was, had already
Sure.
been through it probably themselves. Um, Obviously lucky to have lived the life that I did and, what my parents could provide me, but there's definitely some kids who would understand like how savage this movie is
I
and
mean,
compare it to.
what's it, Lord of the Flies?
That's a movie.
It
That's a book. Yeah.
it does have that kind of a feel and vibe, you know what I
Survival,
mean?
like
Like,
a
yeah,
Yeah.
survival.
yeah, and
Yeah.
how messed up it is. Like I said, there's it's a double-edged sword, right? It's beautiful, but at the same time cruel and disgusting. And I
Such
think
as
that is
humanity, right?
the
Such as humanity.
definition of
Yeah.
humanity is that, and I think that is the major notion that it's trying to like we are beautiful in the sense like they were able to communicate with the humanoids and be like, hey, they're gonna the ohms are getting out of control. They're gonna start keep killing people. Let's just give them a planet and we'll coexist. Like
Right.
there's something beautiful in that compromise,
Coexistence.
in
Yeah.
that coexistence, but there's something disgusting in that, you know, the
How
ohms
much
were
had
almost
to
like a
happen?
plague. And it's also disgusting that these people consider them a plague and want to rule them and like see themselves as higher than them.
How
So there's
much had to
multiple.
happen
Right.
until they got to that point of compromise,
Correct.
Right.
There
Correct.
were so
So
many lives lost at that point. So,
and
like,
there's beauty and, tragedy and all that.
So I think that all leads up to us to say this gets a stamp of transcendence
yeah.
because, like, even just hearing you guys talk about it and how it correlates to like our world and the shit we do to each other, to animals, to I mean whatever. Like, honestly, I got to be honest with y'all. I just got back from Fogo de Chao, which is a Brazilian steakhouse, and they just keep bringing you meat,
Dead
and I
animals. Here you go. Here you
fuck.
go. Here you
Like
go.
it tastes so good, but I was also like, damn, like it's
I
tough.
don't
It's
have a
tough.
It is
problem. Here's
tough. Erica's
It's so
Erica
good.
has her dog right there in the house. Like
You know
but
what I
that's the
mean?
same
Yeah.
thing. Like with a
no, but
collar on,
here's
probably.
no, he doesn't. He's Nakey Boy when he's at home.
Free range. Free range.
Yeah, you don't have a collar at home. No, like the crazy thing is too though is like I don't have a problem with people eating meat. I really don't. I think a lot of my issues stem from the fact of how far removed we are from the meat that we consume, right?
Sure.
because
Right.
you're not the one who's taking the life of the animal. Like, you're going to the grocery store and buying it, or you're going to a restaurant and having it prepared for you. Which restaurant is a little bit,
I mean, we're
it's
so
not a,
removed from it by that time.
Hey
yeah,
man,
you're
speak
just
for
so far
yourselves.
removed.
I'm on my way to that homestead. You know, we just got 4 chickens.
You got your chickens. You got your chickens
Yeah.
ready to go. Yeah. I mean, listen,
I
that's a
got
No,
smart
but
move with
chicks.
these eggs
Adrian,
prices.
that's like the crazy thing about it though, is you end up appreciating it more because you're the
Okay.
one that's taking care of it and making sure that it's
You know
healthy
what's
enough
going
to
into it.
provide for you. You know what's going into it. Exactly. Like, and you're the one that's, I don't know if you're gonna end up killing your chickens or not to
I
eat
was
them,
just gonna
but
ask.
like,
To be honest, I was just gonna ask. So, like, is that are a couple of these guys dinner, or are we just doing eggs?
I mean,
I mean, they have a
they
couple
last for a
years
while.
before they have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
ship
yeah.
them
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending
But
on your chicken,
eventually,
you get
yes.
about like 6
Nah,
years of
bro.
eggs out of certain chicken.
Let's say you have your chicken for 2 years, and your daughter, my goddaughter, is in love with fucking Flaky or whatever the fuck you name it.
She gonna
We got
name
we
them.
got
There's no
Louise, we
way
got
you're gonna.
Thelma, Louise, Lucille,
They
and
already
Nugget.
named.
Yeah. There's no way you're
Yeah.
gonna feed any of them to her. What are you gonna tell her? Are you gonna tell her?
You're eating
Nah,
Nugget
Nah.
today.
we would just eat them and not. It's just
Damn.
chicken. I wouldn't even tell her. They passed away,
But
and we're.
again,
I wouldn't
like,
even tell her we were eating them. But yeah, for sure, that's the goal.
definitely correlating that back to the film of how far removed the drug
Yeah.
were from the ohm. They
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
understand. They didn't know, the capabilities of them, because obviously they were able to gain the knowledge to be
But
technologically
that, but
advanced the same
but
way they were.
I love the parallel of that's like us to any intelligent animal. Like think of a dolphin, think of a orca, or think of a pig. Like think of these animals that like we really don't know the extent of consciousness, intelligence, compassion, relationships, like all these things. We try to separate it because it's other than us. But this movie
Mushrooms too,
as well.
mycelium.
Yeah.
We're like just understanding how intelligent and interconnected
We all are.
mycelium are with
Yeah.
not even like interspecies and the earth, and telling you mushrooms are the answer to everything. But
When are we doing our mushrooms watch along with the movie? And what are we watching?
fantastic fungi. We
That's a
should totally
movie?
do that.
Fantastic
Oh,
Fungi
the documentary.
Friday.
I know about that. It's like a
Yeah,
nature documentary,
no,
right? Yeah.
great document. I mean, if you're, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm obsessed with mushrooms. Like, I have like
Fungi
1,500
Friday.
pictures of mushrooms in my phone. Like, it's insane. I like we used to take pictures of mushrooms all the time in Humboldt. Like, that was my
I mean,
favorite thing to
humble.
do.
You gotta have, yeah.
Yeah, the rain and then sun, you're getting great mushrooms. But just a great documentary about mushrooms, their importance, what they can offer like humanity, what research is going on like regarding psilocybin. Great, great documentary.
Check it out, folks. We're on to our second to last stamp, which is kind of our last stamp, which is the stamp of recommendation. In order to receive this stamp, all three of us have to say we would recommend this movie. So, Erica, you've already recommended
I
it.
have already recommended the movie. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to finish it, but yeah, he's liked it so far.
I'm the original recommender, so that's a yes. Adrian, would you recommend this movie to someone? No, ever,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
yes, or
Somebody, yes. Probably somebody specific. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't
just
recommend this to
Manny?
everybody.
Yeah.
Well, like, I would
But
never
yeah,
recommend
yeah.
this to my parents, but there are
Right.
some friends that I think, are freaky and weird enough to like really dig it.
I think what I really so I've seen this maybe, I don't know, realistically like 5 times. And this time watching, I really appreciated the different creatures, right? Like you have that like he's almost like an elephant looking fool with like a branch for a nose, and
Yeah.
he just captures these fish birds, shakes them up, tosses them to the
Yeah.
ground, and
And
they're
just
just
moves
like
on.
just that's all. It like doesn't eat them, but they're just dead fucking fish birds all over. or you have like
That roly-poly thing that like ate the egg that hatched, and then
yeah.
like it was like all lovey-dovey, and then just ate it.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's like licking it. It looks like a
Yeah.
Yeah.
bird creature licking
Yeah.
the hippo, the hippo guy. You've got those like silk bugs that like create fabric, you know.
Yeah.
And then when the pesticide or whatever to kill the ohms goes out, you see a bunch of them dead, right? So it's like collateral damage, and there's just a lot of interesting themes, and to you guys as well, because you have my Criterion login. Check out the two movies. You know, I think. Hold on, I was gonna say I'll text it to you, but I have it here. Um, sorry. Les Temps Morts, which is Dead Times, and Les Escargots, the snails, are two short films that are like under 12 minutes that they did, and also kind of collaborate on these things. All that
I'm
to
gonna
say,
have to watch those.
no, like real talk. It's and the documentary, Erica. Like I think you would appreciate like seeing this guy. Like they're very eccentric characters. The animator
Yeah.
Roland and
I'd
René.
imagine anybody who created this film had to be a
Like
little bit off their rocker.
they seem like a good time. They seem like a good time. So we're giving the stamp of recommendation, which leads us to our final stamp, which is the seeing this global
Hall of
entry
Fame.
stamp, which is you achieved all stamps. You now become part of the Foreign Film Hall of Fame. But we didn't get the stamp of sound. That's the only one that missed it. So it's not getting the Hall of Fame. Nonetheless, Fantastic Planet, I think, really touches on very relevant themes. Like I said, the genocide of the Ohms by the Drogs is happening right now. And there's
And
efforts
happened
in the past.
We celebrate every July.
It's just all kinds of things and themes. And I think one thing we didn't really dig on too much is the philosophy aspect of these drugs are focused on meditating, and they go into these little orbs and legitimately travel
The
to
other planet.
well, it's to a moon, right? It's to
Right.
a moon of the
Right.
planet they're on. And then
I don't think it's another planet. I think it's the next level of consciousness for them.
It's a different plane.
Sure, but they explain it as like a moon, and then the Ohms make their own planet, which is like an artificial moon to this planet. Like they wrapped the end of the movie up really quick and like an explanation in like 20
Yeah.
seconds, which is a little sloppy.
Well, and I wonder if that was because remember how you were saying he didn't want to do it anymore?
Yeah,
I'm wondering
possibly.
if the end of that movie was because of that.
It's, I
That's
mean,
interesting.
so Roland Topra didn't want to do the project anymore. He was mainly the animation versus the story, but they did say in this documentary I was talking about that they had to cut like 3 or 4 set pieces from this movie because of that. So there may have been a little bit more of a smoother landing as far as the end
Yeah.
of the movie. But Fantastic Planet, I think it sounds like recommended to people that would appreciate it is where we're landing with this, right? It doesn't make the Hall of Fame. It's our first foreign film Friday. Hopefully we did it justice. Hopefully this is a way to watch more foreign films. We're trying to do different things. We have our draft. We have our anniversary. Now we have foreign films. We're going to try to introduce some first time reaction to watching a movie that we haven't seen and get a reaction out of that. YouTube exclusive, doing some promoting here. Again, Fantastic Planet, French film, Czechoslovakia produced, former Czechoslovakia, Prague. And I think, you know, if you like people that like deep movies and allegorical movies, they should watch it. Recommended to those kind of friends. Max Criterion, it's available. But outside of that, what are we doing next? Our main movie review.
Do we have any movies that are streaming? It's just gonna be, I'm getting into another busy like hump. Something came up very last minute, so
Booty call or what?
no,
Booty,
my
booty, booty,
godmother,
rocking
her
everywhere, rocking everywhere.
my godmother and her husband are going out of town and their dog sitter canceled last night. So
Well,
and
that's
they're
not
leaving
fun. I was
tomorrow.
gonna
Dang, party at their house. Let's go.
bring
You
all
know
your
what? They do
dogs.
have a dope
Uh,
ass house too.
let's go. Podcast from there. Hey, on location podcast. Let's go.
Listen, you guys are more than welcome to always. You know, it's fantastic, listeners, as this wonderful chemistry we all have.
You can
Erica
hop
and
on a
Adrian,
plane.
Erica and Adrian have never met in person, which is
Isn't that
I don't have
crazy?
it.
which is crazy. We'll make it happen. But you guys are
And
more
we
than
probably
welcome.
only live like 20 minutes away.
Max.
Yeah.
Well, either if you guys ever want to coordinate that, great. Or next time I'm down, maybe we can coordinate something and do an in-person recording. But until then, follow us on all the socials: Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, not LinkedIn. We're not on there. YouTube. You can go to our link in our Instagram or our Blue Sky. Another one that I didn't mention has all of our socials available. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and
Spotify.
is where you can listen and watch us. As we said, Erica's over here licking fingers on the video, so make sure you subscribe to see every.
I just saw that freaking clip that you did. I hate you.
Listen. We got to get people to watch. All right,
All
but
of a sudden,
don't
my
want them
my
to
profile's
only
just
come-
booming with hits.
I don't want them to only come to watch just to see if I'm licking my finger. I
like
am more than that, you
Isn't that
dick.
social media period? Just a bunch of girls trying to get guys to look at them.
No, but we're not like that. We don't go to that level. We got little hands and we got Erica licking fingers. Those are our two draws.
I'll bring my tiny hand back.
Bring the tiny hand back. Nonetheless, ramble too long. This episode's long as it is. Fantastic Planet, HBO Max, Criterion, seen this, all the things. Follow us. Until our next episode, stay safe.